Welcome back to Pisces TV. We are about to get started with your pick a card. We have group 1, 2, and 3. Group 1 has our cute little Skeletor, skull and bone. Group 2, you have a horseshoe. Okay. And group 3, you have the sun, which could even be seen as like a wheel, but it's the sun in a wheel, so I'm going to go with the sun. I'll give you a moment to make your selection, and we will get started going first left to right. All right. All right, let's get started with group 1. We're going to get these out of the way over here. All right. Okay. There we go. Group 1, you have the skull and bone. One of my favorite, by the way. You also have pyrite, luck, prosperity, success. The gold standard when it comes to crystals, pyrite attracts abundance, wealth, and prosperity. Known as fool's gold, pyrite encourages you to follow your dreams and envision your desire. Manifesting powers are high when this card is at play. Pyrite has the spark, literally. Pyrite can create fire when struck against another stone or metal and is believed to contain the element of fire in its core. Pyrite also acts as a powerful protector, shielding you from negativity and protecting the integrity of your aura. Strike fast and don't look back. Leo, Mars energy. Super cool. The next card you have is the glass. Okay, could be a looking glass. Look at that gold. This is interesting because I immediately thought, while pyrite is amazing, as you can see, when it says strike, don't wait. The element of fire itself is in its belly, and it's protective, and it's amazing, and it's awesome. It is also known as fool's gold. And how we see it is at play. There are times where this is the environment, and to manifest we need to focus, because the charm that came out for the collective, oh, here it is the Pegasus. So I did think about the Chariot, and I didn't plan this. So it seems like the Chariot broke down into different elements, because if you ask me, the skull and bone could represent spirit, and they say, the Chariot is the throne of God itself or whatever. So I don't know, that's just one religious belief. I don't know what your background is, but it also just talks about magic. When I think about the Pegasus, I think about Sagittarius, or what is it, Ophiuchus, which was the 13th sign, and 13 is connected to death, Scorpio, spirit. So however you want to look at it, I just try not to infiltrate beliefs on people, because I don't know what y'all beliefs are. But my point is, focusing on the light at the end of the tunnel may be necessary, especially if prosperity and abundance is in the atmosphere for you. You got the Roman numeral 30 that could be significant. I also know from my experience with this deck, my perspective, the glass kind of also represents rose-colored glasses at times. Notice they put the rosy in the center, right? Where this is the truth, and this is how we see it. But in this case, y'all must be pretty lucky, pretty special, because in this case, the cards are supporting the opposite for the most part, where you may be encouraged to see things in a brighter light. You also have, I am held safely in the embrace of unconditional love. I rest my soul and enter a sacred sanctuary of rejuvenation and restoration. That is your mantra. You have alchemy, the number 8, that infinity symbol. All right. The frequency of alchemy activates our magical ability and embrace of the magic that we all hold inside. Each one of us has the potential to access the ancient knowledge that allowed the true alchemist to perform the miracles of transmutation. And you have pyrite right there. If you believe, and that is the Merkaba. I love that. So your belief here, alchemy, some transmutation, some sort of change here, and your mantra is I am held safely in the embrace of unconditional love. Now usually when I hear this sort of mantra, it's when I'm doing like a guided meditation and I'm helping the individual feel safe and comfortable with being vulnerable, closing their eyes, and totally like sinking into the deep space of meditation. Metatron is connected to that energy in my perspective, okay? I know that rose-colored glasses is also connected to, philosophically, the Queen of Cups. How is the Queen of Cups possibly connected to any of this? Well, the Queen of Cups represents the intuition, and since we're talking about beliefs, she also represents the subconscious. And regardless of what we see, want to believe, that subconscious energy is going to be a tell-all of what will possibly actually manifest. So taking it into consideration, whatever's being manifested at present in your life, if you want to transmute that and create some sort of transformation, the subconscious, how you see it, the tools that you use, right? Because the glass could also be seen as a tool in alchemy for the magician. And it has all the elements in it. So that's kind of like the magician card. The magician usually has all 4 elements before it: air, fire, water, earth. And this talked about a metal that was fire. Fire is transformative. You got the metal here with the water, the trees, which is earth, the sky, the sun, right? And then, like I said, when I think of Metatron, I think about air energy, Gemini, Aquarius. So it's given like magician transforming the subconscious to maybe transform or transmute things, because you're manifesting something and you're in a time of prosperity and luck. When I think of prosperity and luck, I could just say, oh, okay, Leo, Mars. But no, prosperity and luck also points to the auspicious aspects of your natal chart. I know Jupiter is very expansive, right? And it also talks about when it's struck against another stone. So for you, you have pyrite and glass. Be mindful, okay? Because if pyrite is considered fool's gold and glass is sometimes used with the fake diamonds, just be realistic about what we're seeing in your environment, in a person. Since we could be talking about the magician and your thoughts, your perspective, the way you're thinking. I know that Metatron, or as I talked about, air energy, Aquarius, Gemini, whatever, is also connected to like Akashic Records. The Akashic Records didn't come up specifically, but if we're looking into something or scrying, some of you could be individuals that have the capacity or some sort of gift and ability to do that. And the beautiful aspect of how the Akashic Records is in any form connected to this reading for you guys, the subconscious, the things that are stored deep down in there, the events that cause those things that you could have carnated onto this planet to undo, redo, or understand. Okay, so I think that that's super cool. And while the Queen of Cups represents Cancer, I know the King of Cups represents Scorpio, and Scorpio has a connection to that 13 and Spirit, and how these two work in relevance to alchemy is this planet is mostly water. Humans would not exist on it without the water. And, you know, it's said that we're the only planet with water. Okay, so, per se, right? But there's also an element of fire and metal for you. So that's interesting. I don't know if I have any deep thinkers here. If you care to look into what fire, water, and metal point to, right? If anything, that would be very interesting. It could point to something very specific, and I'm like spot on for two people who, I don't know, have questions or research or some destiny in invention or how you can unlock the codes to the matrix, right? As the alchemist or as the individual coming to this reading to give messages from source. If you belief was very important and one of the most important steps for Neo in the Matrix, because regardless of how Morpheus knew and how eventually Trinity knew, Neo had to believe. That's crazy. That's what you got, group 1. I want to leave it right there. And we will move to group 2. Group 2, you have the horseshoe. Love that. All right. The magnets. Right? Okay, I'm goofy. Your crystal, as beautiful as it may be, is Bumblebee Jasper. Pollination, willpower, and new ideas. Sting like a bee, it says. Bumblebee Jasper enhances creativity and helps to pollinate ideas, bringing them to life. This stone gives off a fighting spirit, having been formed in a volcano and continuing a strong earthy energy that connects with the willpower of the solar plexus. Bumblebee Jasper also assists in alleviating allergies, soothing irritations, and nurturing one's overall health. Bumblebee Jasper encourages you to create a buzz, to let yourself be seen and heard for who you are and whatever new project you're working on. Take pleasure in your gifts. Amazing. I kind of like Bumblebee Jasper. The second card is the red and white rose. I like that because it says the red and white rose, but it's literally a white rose. The serpent is red, but it's like taking ownership for all aspects of itself, and even like adopting some things that aren't naturally it. I know the story behind the red and white is that there's trust there, where the rose doesn't have an issue with this serpent or caring the world about its red bleeding onto its pure white. And it just talks about, in some cases this card has come up when there's a need to consider one's self when a union is involved or multiple aspects are involved. It's like not losing individuality because of a union, if that makes sense. Now, this doesn't have to be for everyone. Some of you may be working on great ideas, and this is a magnetic time for you to put those into action. Others of you, so respect our brothers and sisters that chose group 2, could have some work to do or need the reassurance of confidence in you can be independent and together. There's not a merging of the two. I don't lose myself in this relationship. I won't lose myself in this idea. I won't lose myself in this job. And I trust that these differences won't hinder me. Your mantra is, I relax. A sacred shield of spiritual protection supports my heart in attracting exceptional blessings and generous grace. So that's super dope. I relax. And then you had, it said attracting. So y'all might be attracting something. And doesn't the bees mate, like bumblebees, the birds and the bees? Okay. You may meet a person or be attracted to, what did they say? Opposites attract. Some of you guys may experience that in the near future. You have the number 20, which traditionally in tarot is connected to judgment, and equally so supported in this deck, pointing to discernment. The frequency of discernment supports our ability to view the world and the people around us from a place of inner balance and detachment, yet with compassion and wisdom. Now see, the frequency of the discernment supports our ability to view the world and people around us from a place of inner balance and detachment. See, I see this on me, but it's not of me. And then it says the white and the red rose, but it's not you would expect like some ombre from white to red in this rose, but it's not. And then I'm also noticing, because we talk about bees and like pollination, and you know how like when they eat the plants or the flowers, whatever, don't they go for the good stuff inside? Look at that. This is what's inside of it. So it's like some of us may not need to fear opposites attracting or things being different in the environment. Your discernment may call for you to think outside of the box. And then I don't know why I was thinking about some of you here that chose group 2 may want to check out like our Starseed collective reading, because this gave me like an alien vibe, like the head. And I didn't know what this was, but okay, I was thinking more so this is like the shoulder or the chest, the neck, and this is its head or a helmet or something. It didn't get all that deep with it, but now that I'm still looking at it, it looks like 2 eyes and a third eye or something like that, with the triangle and the circle, which has been connected to temperance. Hey, might be on to something. Temperance does talk about a reconciliation. It also talks about harmony and grace, as well as a balancing act. So for those of you where you're trying to create something, it may take both aspects of you. And since usually I'm talking to Pisces, okay, on Pisces TV, this is a comfortable place where you could relax, because both aspects of you, right, both of the fish, whichever direction they're going, may have a place here, may be necessary here. And balancing them out, getting them to work in harmony, each direction could also be favorable. But if nothing else, your discernment, and it's like, what are we discerning? Well, with this card, it talks about attachment, detachment. this snake is latched onto this flower to the point to where it's now called the red and white rose. And it's like, baby, I'm not no red rose. I'm a white rose, but I'm wearing this little button. Okay? And it attracted it. Now, I don't want to be Debbie Downer, right? But there's many reasons why those of you come to the reading and pick cards, and it's not just one storyline. Using your discernment when it comes to attracting, and a thought that just came to mind was someone may be having some experiences where you are attracting things, and I don't know if you're happy with some things that you're attracting, but if you aren't, discernment is necessary. And it's a really cool thing that I seen online a couple of weeks ago, where this guy, I think he's some sort of psychologist, or not a psychiatrist, so maybe a psychologist, but somebody put in his comments that I attract, broken people. Let me scoot this up so y'all can see it. And then he says, that's not what you attract, it's what you accept. And I was like, oh, that's true. Because someone else using their discernment with a different perspective wouldn't even entertain that. And so they don't live out that experience. But someone else who sees themselves as loving and supportive and loyal, and I apologize for partially being condescending right there, but I just know how it goes, or what we can sometimes tell ourselves, because I'm a Pisces too, and why we do the things we do. But let's just leave that off the table. We're not going to talk about the whys. We're just going to say a person using their discernment that walks away from a situation that somebody else gives an opportunity, that could be in the environment, however that plays out. Okay? There. See how that was? And I ain't pick a side or judge or sway y'all or nothing. I like that. Be assertive. Well, see, every time I try to straddle the fence, spirit comes and it's like, no, that's what that is. So being assertive works well for those of you that want to step into this leadership, willpower to push this new idea. Okay? Something could be irritating you. It's something that may bother you, giving you allergies. Child, just getting on your nerves. You may have to be assertive, because going on. I do that so much. Understand what aspect of you, quote unquote, is attracting it. But like that man said, it's not about attracting it. This discernment says, what are we feeding into and accepting? Discernment and being assertive. I like that together. And then as a reminder, your mantra is I relax. And it has a sacred shield. Being assertive, using your discernment, that is very protective. And that is a shield. Like, you ain't finna play with me. Because, everybody's attracted to light. Like a moth to a flame sitting by the fire. Okay, I was gonna start singing. All right, so group 3. Okay, you have the sun, or what could be the wheel. I saw it as a wheel first, but noticed it was the sun in the center. Okay, your crystal is rhodonite. Compassion, yin yang, fertility. It is Taurus and Mars energy. Rhodonite is a stone of brotherly love, the shared connection between all of humanity. Equilibrium is key for this crystal, which has the capacity to calibrate emotions, balance yin and yang, and source of energy from a grounded place. It can be light to emotional scars from the past, transforming them to foster a stable, everyday life. Rhodonite helps remove blame from the situation, whether it points at you or someone else. Accept the situation for what it is and learn to forgive yourself with love and compassion in the process. And it is very beautiful, I must say. You have sublimation. And look at that. That is so crazy. It matches. Boom. Okay, y'all finding context clues, group 2 blues clues or whatnot. Let me see here. Because sublimation, for those of you who could be into fashion, we're not just talking about making athletic apparel, okay? Or direct to garment printing. That's what I thought about first when I saw sublimation. Because my children are in sports. And so making myself, as well as like ordering through manufacturers, like sublimation for clothes, cups, and all that kind of stuff. That could be something for some of y'all. All right, I ain't gonna leave it out because it came to mind. But it talks about flight, rising, and elevation. And that's why this bird is flying up from this. And that's crazy. That is so perfect. I kid you not. When the charm came out, it was like this. And since it was the back of the sun, and I remember watching it like the National Geographic back in the day, when it talked about the black sun, there are cultures that believe there are 2 suns and one of them is black or whatever. So look at that. Hello? I'm not reaching. That is crazy that you guys got that and that card came out for you. It also talks about the magic of air travel. So some of you guys, it may involve a flight. It could involve travel. Okay. This is air energy, where air may fall in your chart. And it occurs when there is enough heat to change a solid substance into gas, causing it to rise up, and away. Therefore, when sublimation is present, there is an aspect of celebrated elevation, of ascending above and gaining a greater perspective. Birds in flight, mountain peaks, ladders, and balloons are all sublimation images. As with all the operations, it has a shadow potential. Through ascension, there is a risk of separating from others, of sensing oneself higher or above. This risk is particularly great in spiritual traditions that offer a linear model of achievement. The divine alchemist rises humbly and supports and uplifts others, always in touch with the cycle of humanity. Don't feel guilty for coming up. I ain't gonna hold you. While that was very humbling, and I do believe that I articulated that message properly and received it intuitively, I also got, because of your crystal, don't feel shame and guilt though for rising above a situation. You don't necessarily have to rise above people. People are soulmates in our lives, represent situations, levels, circumstances, or whatnot. Disassociation is an example of this as well. When this card appears, reconnect with the feelings you'd rather avoid. Be with them rather than rising above them. That's deep. Because disassociation is sometimes a medical term used in behavioral studies. And I'll also say that from my observation, disassociation is also a process in ascension when there's the death of the ego after or during and before the shadow work, where you have to disconnect from people, places, things, and belief systems to get to the core foundation of who you are. You definitely can't feel guilty about that. You can't feel shame about that. You might, but this is just a confirmation and support for you not to. Now, it kind of slightly gave narcissist vibe. So if you are dealing with a fire sign, specifically, what did it say? Taurus, which is Earth, I know, but it got Mars. So I was thinking, what, Sagittarius, Leo? Anyhow, if you're dealing with an individual that has, had any of those behaviors or accused you of having those behaviors, here's how to deal with that. Okay, so your mantra is: appreciating my soul progress creates confidence and excitement to embrace new challenges and expand my spiritual horizon. Yeah, there's going to be, or has been, will be some expansion. Don't get too big and lose all human capacity. Okay, you still on this planet, dear guru. But at the same time, I feel that it's important for some of us to have this wake up call and awareness and realization that it is what it is. You may have had questions about why you're even on this planet. And then what if you're on this planet to ascend? Ascension just means whatever's caught up in your energy, you shed that and elevate to different aspects of yourself, a living experience or dimensions. Who knows? Because we got the dove or this bird here. And isn't that how ascended masters become ascended masters? They have levels that they've accomplished. I don't know. Spirit said no, which tells you a lot about how people don't know shit. Because I bet you right now you can go check out a book that say ascension and the ascended masters have to do with the levels that they completed and graduating through the experiences that they played out on this planet. Yeah, but I'm gonna go with Spirit. Spirit say that ain't it. I believe Spirit, because they be down here making up anything for us on this planet because they feel metaphysics and quantum experiences or reality doesn't have facts. It's just mostly subjective, so you can say anything. Yeah, you can to a motherfucker that ain't got God in their body, or don't have a connection to Spirit itself for real. So, moving along, some of you might like 777. You also have 10. There's completion. I don't know why, just a bit. I got like passed on loved one vibes here, and it's like they're not gone. Don't feel bad. It was a process that was necessary, and I just skipped past it, and maybe I shouldn't do that. So I just wanted to throw that out there. But we have realization, which is 37, which what is that? A 10 in numerology, which is 1. When I see numbers, and it's just my goofy little way, so please forgive me. But 3, 7, I would see that as 3 sevens. I do that. Don't judge me. But the frequency of realization supports the internal process of becoming aware of our heart-centered truth, as well as the external process of becoming our highest expression in this world. So realization, ascension. I love that. You also have let go. And see, this is what I meant by disassociation is, in my opinion, part of the process. However, they got medical professionals and licensed individuals who would say disassociation is a disorder. I guess it just depends to what degree and how it affects you. I personally see disassociation as self-love for empaths, or an individual experiencing an awakening. It may be in the environment with people less compassionate, generational issues, parent issues, childhood trauma issues, relationship issues that are deep, and you're involved with people that make you feel like the problem. That hurts. I know disassociation could be unhealthy if, like it said, instead of processing and dealing with it, I'm just gonna rise above it. Somebody said that to me when we talked about on some social audio app. I said that crying isn't necessary all the time, or something like that. I said it was someone's belief that you can't help it. Now, if there's a medical issue where someone could not help it, if there was a dysfunction in a functionality, I get that, but that's not what they were talking about. So I said a human being can control their emotions through their perspective, because your perspective and your thoughts create chemical balances or imbalances and induce emotional reactions. So if you could control your perspective and your thoughts, you were thus in control of your emotions. And the dude was like, no, you can't. You sound like a robot. You sound like you repressing stuff. It's repressing if I see it one way, and like this says, I just want to rise above it. That's probably repressing it. But if my perspective sees it in a way that allows me to accept it in my present life and move forward without overanalyzing how it makes me feel, that's not repressing anything. Repressing is when I'm sitting there thinking about how it makes me feel, but trying to be a big girl about it. It's a different perspective if I say, this person did this to me because that's who they are. I could have been a different person and still got that behavior from them. Maybe it wasn't personal, maybe it was, but it has happened. And I have to detach from whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean, because I'm not about to sit in that energy and continue being whoever they thought I was supposed to be that day. Some people could say, I'm disassociating. I'm finding a way to detach from whatever. I think that's favorable and a necessary aspect of self-love. However, the card still warned to be humble and not disassociate so much to where you disconnect from mankind, because I'm telling you, that dude thought I was crazy as a woman sitting telling a man that it's not mandatory to cry. Like, you can't control it. He's like, no, some things just happen and the tears just come out your eye because of what you're thinking. Yes. And how those thoughts induce chemicals and feelings. And he did not want to hear that shit. So, group 3, thank you for that. I was entertained in my mind by thinking about that, brother. I do hope that it helped you. And I'll give all of you a moment, as usual, to just reflect on the messages you received and enjoy the instrumental.